Welcome to the Taylor James Show, where we pair extraordinary wine with extraordinary musicians. Today our special guest is a legendary blues, gospel, soul recording artist and actor, Jim Byrnes. We'll hear how he got his start in showbiz and how he's maintained a successful career for over 5 decades. But first, to Marquee Wines to pair the perfect wine to complement Jim's unique talent. All right, so here we are at Marquee Wines in the beautiful west end of Vancouver. We're going to talk about wine and music. So we have Mr. Jeff Hicks.
Hi.
My drummer.
Hi.
One of my dearest friends.
Hello.
And Dan is with Marquee Wines. So our goal today is to pair a wine with Jim Byrnes.
There's 3 wines here that we were looking at. There's one, Finca Munoz. This is a Verdejo. Jim does come in fairly frequently, once every 6 or 8 days. And his wife really enjoys this wine, so he always blames her when he's buying this. But he likes to, when he's just playing around, rehearsing, practicing, he likes something refreshing, so he really enjoys this one. It's a beautiful...
And probably good value too.
Yeah, very good value. It's under 20. It's one of those, it doesn't have to be expensive to be good wine. It's a pretty full-bodied wine, but it's got a nice high acidity to it, so it's crisp and fresh. And
where's it from?
Spain.
Nice.
It's wonderful. Verdejo. Awesome. And I've thought of Jim as like the king of the blues in a sense. And he's like a conduit between the earth and the sky, and there's this entity there. And I think that there's many layers to that. So figured we'd choose some wines that have lots of different layers as well, layers of personality.
Right.
So I think that really coincides well with...
Right, and you chose a wonderful bold Barolo from Italy, which I thought was perfect because it's also really classy, and Jim's really classy too, and it's a special wine, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very deep. So it's a beautiful example of what old vines do, and soil that's been supporting those vines for many years, decades. Yeah. Lots of beautiful minerality, but it really gives this depth, this round mid palate, and this depth and length, and look at this, and the length of that wine, and the finish. It just grabs you, and it's very much like a song. It affects you emotionally, which I think music should do, and wine should do the same.
And Jim does that as well when he performs and tells his stories, and that's fantastic.
Excellent.
That's going to be so good.
Woo.
The other one is Chateauneuf de Pape from France.
Ooh, sounds nice too.
You just like the words, don't
I do.
Yeah.
Neuf de Pape.
Yeah, so this one, you get a lot of beautiful black fruit, cassis, cigar, tobacco notes, things like that.
All these depth, earthy kind of characteristics.
Yeah, smoky kind of like good.
That sounds like the blues.
Good
like
blues.
Jim's voice.
Yeah.
Smoky.
Yeah, like a hollow body guitar, like it's got that sort of essence to it. The finish is so smooth, and it's not overpowering. It's a little smoother and a little bit more sort of laid back, and just sit and relax, and just
What do you think?
I think it's
Of
fantastic.
the 3, I know that we can't go wrong.
What do you think, Dan, between the Barolo and the Chateauneuf de Pape?
I'd say, for Jim, if he's going to sit down and have a glass of wine, I think he'd go for the Barolo.
Barolo.
That's something I'd recommend for him.
I totally agree.
Then that's what it is.
It's going to be a perfect pick for a classy guy and a blues icon.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Excellent.
Well done.
Yeah.
Very good. Well, this has been fun.
I love it here. I'm going to live here, actually. I'm going to move here. No, I will live
It's
here.
really beautiful. Thank you, Dan, for your heart and your passion. It's just been fantastic.
Thanks, Dan.
Cheers.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you.
My head, watching the news, sick and tired of the same old blues. Government sucks, priests gone bad. Who can you trust in a world gone mad? Power and greed, the great big plan, been there before. Gotta take a stand. Gotta get some of that backbone. Gonna take a lot of backbone. Rise up, my friends, rise up. Backbone. Gonna take a lot of backbone. Rise up, my friends, rise up. Gotta wake up and dig for the truth and ask yourself, what can I do? Look me in the eye, say, how's your day? Shake my hand and remember my name. Gotta get some of that backbone. Gonna take a lot of backbone. Rise up, my friends, rise up. Backbone, gonna take a lot of backbone. Rise up, my friends, rise up. Something's gotta give and something's gotta go. Take a look at yourself if you wanna lighten my load. You want my pity, well, you got that. You want my forgiveness, well, I ain't quite ready yet. Backbone. Backbone. Gotta get some of that backbone. Gonna take a lot of backbone. Rise up, my friends, rise up. Backbone. Gonna take a lot of backbone. Rise up, my friends, rise up. Yeah. Come on, let's get together now. Woo! Hey, hey, hey. Backbone, gonna take a lot of backbone. Rise up, my friends, rise up.
Well, the day has finally come.
Yeah, indeed.
So I had this idea that I wanted to pair wine with musicians.
Good
Because
idea.
I think that wine and music are very closely related.
Indeed.
To put your life on the line for a winery, you have to have a lot of passion behind it because it's not easy. I can only imagine.
Indeed.
And in our careers, a lot
The
of
time
ups
you
and
put in,
downs.
yeah, the 10,000 hours.
That's
you know?
right.
Yeah,
That
the tipping
people see
point.
us on stage, but they don't see all the toil. But and again, if you didn't love it, you couldn't show up for it.
Oh, it'd be pointless to do it.
You couldn't last. Is it 3 decades?
5 actually.
5?
Yeah. I played my first
Wow.
show, you know, like where I had my name on the poster and I was in the union and everything in November of 1965. So that's
Wow.
53 years ago.
That's a long time ago.
I opened for the Byrds at St. Louis University. I was a 17-year-old kid, and some of those tunes that I still do them, and I had no idea. I mean, how I thought I could get away with singing some of those songs when I was a 17-year-old prep school student. It was ridiculous.
Did you have a band, or was it solo? Or?
I did it solo.
You did.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah.
We approached some wine stores in Vancouver to see if they'd come on board to support
Indeed.
Marquee Wines in our West End.
Yep.
Was the first store to very, very quickly say yes, 100%. Well,
Yeah.
John, you know John.
Well,
Mueller.
I've known the Clarides family for a
Yeah.
long time. My wife worked when they had the Black Angus at the corner of Robson and Thurlow, which is now that shoe store. But my wife worked for the Clarides family back when she was in high school.
Oh my gosh! So we went in. Unfortunately, John was in Vienna when.
Unfortunately
unfortunately,
for him.
But we
Right.
had Dan. You know,
Sure.
Dan.
Okay, yeah.
So he was very familiar with you and your music. So based on your personality and you know you're an icon, and this particular wine is from Italy, and Dan was very, very excited about this. It's a
Yes.
Barolo. It's a perfect fit for you, Jim
Yeah,
Byrnes.
excellent,
So
yeah.
we're gonna thank Marquee Wines right now for this beautiful bottle of wine.
Beautiful.
I'm gonna pour it. And we're
Lovely.
gonna taste it.
Yeah. In 2006, I played the closing ceremonies of the Paralympics in Turin, and Umberto Menghi we all know from Giardino, introduced me to Fiorenzo Dogliani, who runs the Battisiolo winery up in Elba, just north of Turin, and I got to go up, and this is where they make such great Barolo.
Who could know that? I mean, this is also amazing.
Okay.
That's fantastic. Smells beautiful.
Salute.
Salute. Thank you.
Mamma mia.
Wow. Beautiful. Oh, nice finish,
Indeed.
eh?
Yes, indeed. Lovely.
Wow. So you've done so much that I spent days trying to put it all together in one paragraph, which is really hard.
Well, you know, it's been a long road, and it's had lots of ups and downs. And being here in Vancouver, I came here in first came here in 1970, and had a car accident over on Vancouver Island, where I lost both my legs. I was 6 months shy of my 24th birthday. I had $60 to my name. It's 2,500 miles from home. I had two people I could actually call a friend. I had a federal warrant for my arrest out in the United States. And somehow or another, people out here on the West Coast, on the island and here, took me in. And
people that you knew or you didn't know?
Well, people that I didn't know. I mean, just the community, you know.
Of course, yeah.
And I introduced myself, and I came into this community, and people adopted me. And I need to get back to this community and to this place, and never get too big to you know, remember where you came from, how you got here, and those that picked you up when you were when you were down, you know.
So how, I can't imagine how you can come out of that.
As a kid, I wanted to be an actor, okay? I started working professionally when I was about 12, 13 years old. I did some summer stock as a boy wonder, you know, and we'd go to New York every summer and saw all the great plays on Broadway. And, you know, I love the stage. And I majored in theater in university. And so when I got out, and then I ended up in the U.S. Army in kind of a bad situation. And when I got out of there, I just wanted to escape, and I came up here. I ended up out in Ucluelet, and then I had this accident, and you know, I couldn't get arrested as an actor because of this disability back in those days. And so I spent 15 years playing music. I mean, you couldn't walk into a bar and say, I'm going to recite some Shakespeare, you know, but you could walk into a bar, and I had a great musical education growing up in St. Louis, Missouri, as I did. Right. I mean, you know, the people I met and knew. I met Chuck Berry when I was 10 years old. He lived 8 blocks from me, okay? Ike and Tina Turner were the house band.
I read that in your
bowling alley
no
in my
white people
neighborhood.
in the bar.
Right, yeah. So anyway, I had all this kind of knowledge of music, and so I could go into a bar or something and sit up in the corner and say, I'm going to play some songs, and put out a tip jar, and hey, we sold a lot of beer tonight, and I got a job, you know. And so I made my living for all those years as a musician, pretty much. But I tried to get agents and stuff, and this and that happened, and then finally, after 15 years, I had just come back from a trip, and I had a message on my answering machine. Remember those?
I do.
Little tape. And I went into this audition. I knew nothing about it. I walked in, but it was about it was undercover cop thing. This was Wise Guy, and this guy was in a wheelchair, and I went in and just gave him what I had.
Nailed it. And
15 years to the day that I had my accident, I signed the contract to be on this national CBS television series.
That's remarkable.
And from that, my acting career kind of grew, and I had been doing a bit of voiceover work earlier than that. Because remember when they said jingles?
Yes.
You know, I sang jingles. They don't do that much anymore, but I used to sing a lot of jingles. And one time, it was for Sunripe Apple Juice up in the Okanagan. and whoever was supposed to do the voiceover had phoned and said, I can't make it, blah, blah, blah. So the producer said, well, you got a pretty good voice, and you can, you know. And so I read the thing, and it turned into a really lucrative, I mean, getting paid to read out loud is great.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Wow.
And have been doing, I do a lot of narration. I've done a lot of cartoons and commercials. And so, yeah, the voiceover work is really good because you don't have to pretty yourself up or anything. You know?
I talked to you the other night on the phone about, I was just in the middle of picking my clothes, and I was like, oh, it's so stressful. I want to be a man. You said, no, I think about it too.
Oh, yeah. Hey. So anyway, the career just sort of built from there, and then the Highlander thing. I mean, Wise Guy kind of wrapped up. Well, it imploded actually, and that was a bit. But then I got Neon Rider, and I had a recurring role on there. And then the Highlander thing, there were just a few days from to beginning to shoot season 2. And they had this new character they were going to bring in, and they had talked to a bunch of really big-name English actors about this part, and so everything fell apart, and they had like 3 days until they were going to shoot. The producer knew me from my days on Wise Guy. I had some kind of what they call Q, where they know you. And they offered me 4 shows. They said, we're promising you this character, you'll get 4 episodes. And my audition for that was I met the executive producer, Bill Panzer, down at the Sutton Place for drinks. And that was good, and we got along well. And so I had been offered 4 shows, and that turned into 5 years of steady work as an actor.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, which is
wonderful.
Unheard of. And the great thing about that was, to be a working actor and be able to go home and sleep in your own bed and watch your kids grow up, etc., is unheard of. Yeah. So we would shoot 13 episodes here in Vancouver, great, and we would shoot 9 episodes every year in Paris, France. And, to get to go and spend, 6 weeks or 2 months in Paris at somebody else's expense
Very
was
nice.
Not a bad job either.
Very
yeah,
nice. So I read a quote, I think, because there's stuff out there. Maybe you didn't say
maybe
it,
not. Yeah.
But it said something like, "If I can do it, you can do it."
Well, yeah. And that's true.
You are a true living example of that. So, what would you say to somebody who gives up too soon, or is taken down really easy? Honestly, if the career that you've had after all you've been through, what would you say to somebody?
Well, a lot of it has to do also with the love my family showed me. You have some people. It's hard to instill that into some people. Just but really, I don't. People, God, what you've done. What else? What was my choice?
Yeah.
Give up or do this, and I just I'm if nothing else, I'm extremely stubborn,
Yeah.
And that kind of kept me going too. And I do go. I know it's very hard. I know people in the medical trade, and if I'll get word that somebody has lost a leg or is about to lose a leg or a limb or something, and I spend I go to a lot of hospitals.
Oh, Jim, you're such a beautiful soul.
Tell people that
Yeah, you're a good man.
It's not over.
Yeah,
because some people, they think it's like, God, what my life is going to be. Well, it's going to be different, and it's not going to be easy. But I've had a tremendous life. We're going to do that.
How do you feel about aging?
Oh, the alternative stinks. That's all.
I love it.
People, go on about getting old. Yeah, well, if you weren't getting old. Yeah. There wouldn't be anything happening.
Yeah,
So it's it's a challenge. There's a new challenge every day. But
I got to take some of this wisdom from you because I tend to.
Well, yeah.
I fuss about it a bit.
Yeah, I know. But there's a reason for that, and I understand it. But at the same time, like I say, the alternative to aging is unthinkable.
It isn't a good one.
Right,
Last question. What are you most grateful for?
Oh, I guess. The love of my family,
That's beautiful.
Not just. My mom and dad were just so.
Your mom was a homemaker.
Yeah.
An accountant.
Dad was worked for the city. Well, this is my father's ring.
Oh, beautiful.
That I keep with me. He died in 2002, the age of 90. But story about them and this ring that he graduated Irish immigrant family. They were in St. Louis. And he graduated from high school in 1930, the depths of the Depression. He was valedictorian, top marks, class president, but no money to go to university. So he spent 14 years going to night school and working oil rigs in Oklahoma and doing whatever, was an insurance repo man and all sorts of terrible stuff. But kept going to night school and finally got to go spend a year at St. Louis University and got this in 1944.
That's just so beautiful.
And so we'd be at a dinner or something and I'd be mouthing off about something and my dad would look at me and he'd give me this look and he'd say, "You and your goddamn education." and the levels of irony were spectacular.
Oh,
but
wonderful.
the way they supported me and the love I have found here and just to hear the first time you hear your children laugh that's something to be grateful for. I'll tell
Wonderful,
you.
wonderful. Well, we're going to sing a song together.
Yes, we are.
I was very nervous and excited when you suggested it, so I'm hoping it's going to go great. But is there a reason you chose that particular song?
Well, I thought, you know, it's the way things are going. It's about respect. It's about men and women and the respect we need to have for one another.
Yeah, hallelujah, for sure. Well, thank you, Jim.
Okay, well,
cannot wait to sing the song.
Let's sing it, girl.
So let's have another drink of wine.
We will.
And thank you, Marquis Wines,
Here's
for this
to it.
beautiful, beautiful Italian wine.
Salud.
Yeah, salud.
Take me to heart, and I'll always love you. And nobody can make me do wrong. Take me for granted, leaving love untrue. Makes willpower weak and temptation strong.
A woman's only human. This you must understand. She's not just a plaything. She's flesh and blood, just like her man. If you wanna do right all day, woman, you got to be a do-right all night man. They say this is a man's world, but you can't prove that by me.
And as long as we're together, baby, show some respect for me.
If you wanna do right all day, woman, you got to be a do-right all night man. A woman's only human. This you must understand. She's not just a plaything. She's flesh and blood, just like her man. If you wanna do right all day, woman, you got to be a do-right all night man. You got to be a do-right all night man.
Yeah, bravo.
And that's the truth.